What does Tennessee's quarterback room look like now with Joe Milton gone? It's okay. There's some Nico guy. I think the show represented by Banks and Jones. Let's dive into the quarterback room. Thanks to our friend Josh Ward, who has that story up on Off the Hook Sports. Now, the show represented by Banks and Jones. Tell me about it, T. Scott. Why Banks and Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks and Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks and Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks and Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com. Vols don't have to settle for a quarterback after Joe Milton departs for the NFL. I wonder at what point this was Nico Iamaleava's job, Caleb Calhoun. At what point Josh Heupel said, that really is my guy. He's on campus now, and I believe in him. And whether it's for a Citrus Bowl, the 2024 season, whenever the case may be, 2023 perhaps, that is my guy. I've been told by everybody it happens soon when he arrived on campus. Let's do a position preview of Tennessee and their quarterback position. This is an ongoing series brought to you by offthehooksports.com. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll get you completely previewed with the upcoming spring football practice. It's just a couple of weeks away. So when do you think Nico won Josh Heupel over?
Nico, well, I think he won him over in high school. That's why Josh Heupel encouraged the collective to drop $8 million on this guy. But
very fair. That's fair.
Nico won everybody over his first week of practice. And guys, remember, his first week of practice was December of 2022. Taven Jackson hit the portal before winter practices even ended. And Taven Jackson was Josh Heupel's first true commit at quarterback out of high school. The guy was a 4-star. And he said, I'm out. No way I'm beating this guy. And so he peaced out within a week of Nico showing up on campus. I think everybody has known in that room that Nico was going to be a star since December of 2022. And I think I think there was a conditioning factor to get him fully healthy. There was a team chemistry factor, and that's why they stuck with Milton last year. And I will give Dave this, because Dave was, and a lot of other people drove the Nico train the whole time. I don't think it would have been any worse with Nico last year. I can't say they would have won any games with Nico last year. Dave and I disagree on that, but they absolutely still would have at least gone 8-4.
And only slightly. I mean, we only slightly disagree. I mean, listen, without Cooper, you're fighting an uphill battle. We learned at Florida, so I'm not saying I vehemently disagree with you. I think the question is, he won over Josh Heupel in recruiting, you're right, but the question is, when did he win over his teammates? And the Ball Report with Cooper Mays and Jacob Warren, we were able to get some insight into that, and that's why we want you to have those notifications on and hit that like and subscribe button, because we've got a new very, very special guest that's going to be part of the Ball Report coming up. We'll continue to work with Cooper Mays, but we got a little insight as to how he came in. And the thing that was told to me by somebody within Tennessee's football program, it was told to me he is definitely good enough where Joe had better take notice. And that was in January of 2023. So I think he was definitely good enough where Tennessee may have slipped up at some point last year, again, had it not been for the fact that Joe Milton said, this guy's really good. I don't want to screw up my senior year.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. I remember you told me I hadn't just started on the show, but we were really kind of getting our new format off the ground last year. And you had said that everything you had heard was Joe Milton got kicked into high gear from two things. One was seeing Anthony Richardson being highly touted in the draft, going high. And then the other was Nico was really threatening him the minute he stepped on campus in December. And so I agree. That was huge. And now that it's obvious he's the star, I'm going to say something crazy. I don't think you're going to see much of him in spring ball, guys. I think in the spring game, Josh Heupel, he didn't want a spring game. He didn't want to show you what he really has in Nico. And Josh Ward brings up some of Greg McElroy, does a great job, guys. Read the article. He does an incredible job on the article. He brings up what Greg McElroy said, some of the areas Nico needs to improve on. I'm just going to tell you guys, Greg McElroy's wrong with what he said.
Oftentimes.
So he said that Nico was too quick to take off and didn't hold onto the ball long enough in the pocket in the Iowa game in the Citrus Bowl.
Okay, I'm going to defend Greg McElroy for a second. If he added the caveat that it was just the Citrus Bowl, that's fine. But to make a broad generalization about his play would be unfair. Did he do that?
That basically was what he said. That's what he said he needs to improve on as a player.
Okay.
And by the way, anybody who watched that game knows that was by design for Nico to do that. Okay, because he needed to because of the way Iowa played and the coverage they played. Sorry.
I don't call out media members, but he and I seem to be watching a different game. I don't.
Do you remember the two plays where Nico went through all four progressions?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I don't like naming people, but the guy you're referring to and I, for at least 20 years, have been watching different games. Portions of the program brought to you by I'm watching football, I think. Maybe I've got it.
You know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it.
Maybe I've got it on the wrong channel every night or every day, Caleb.
I'm just going to say it. I think he saw Nico's stat line and saw how many times he ran, and that's what I'm going to say.
Well, maybe the thing that Nico is going to be fairly criticized for is not running sooner, because he's going to want to stay behind the line of scrimmage and look downfield. And that's the same thing that Bryce Young was criticized for before. He's not going to come out of the chute and be perfect, so don't expect that portion.
But it's not Caleb Williams who holds on to the ball too long. Sorry, keep going.
Exactly, because Caleb doesn't get out of the pocket enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Nico may hold on to the ball too long at times, but it's because he's looking downfield and he's probably out of the pocket. Think Bryce Young 2021. Portions of the program brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, daily updates. Go to facebook.com and follow at Sports Treasures TN. That's Sports Treasures TN. And we will have a brand new announcement probably as soon as tomorrow on our big gift for March. We were able to give away to Steven, I believe, the Hendon Hooker autographed helmet. All you have to do is become a John, join our Patreon group. We'll have all kinds of exclusive content on there later today. So this is a preview, and Josh Ward is writing these series on offthehooksports.com. It's a preview of spring practice. So you bring up a good point. There are politics in spring practice. How much does Tennessee see of Nico? I'm going to put the over-under at 21.5 throws in the orange and white game. And I don't know that the rest of practice is going to be open at all. So I will say big question mark for Tennessee's media. And 21.5 throws will be for public consumption. I'll put the over-under at that. You would take the over-under?
I'd take the under easily. I would take under 12.5. So looking at this, because Nico could always get hurt, so you always got to think about the quarterbacks on the roster in general. I think Jake Merklinger is the story of spring practice. And we see what he can do. I was discussing this with somebody on our Patreon page. I believe it was Steven, and we were going back and forth. And that's why we love for you to have the interaction. It's just $9.98 a month. You win weekly gifts and monthly gifts and get increased content. But would Tennessee be an up-and-coming program if there was no Nico and it was just Jake Merklinger that was stepping into the fold? I think they'd still be an up-and-coming program. I can't evaluate that because they put so much into Nico. They probably have more weapons around if they didn't spend so much money to get Nico. Yeah. But Merklinger, I can't evaluate Merklinger the way I did Nico last year because we haven't really seen Merklinger play in these camp games or bowl, high school bowl games or things like that. So the real story is going to be what can Merklinger do when he steps on campus in spring ball? Because look, Every Tennessee quarterback has gotten hurt the last 2 years at some point. Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker both got hurt each of the last 3 years under Heupel at some point. So Heupel has not yet had a starter have to be pulled from a game because he was hurt. And at some point in the season. So Merklinger's got to be ready to go. And I don't know I have no idea how mobile he is. It doesn't seem like he was much of a mobile quarterback, but
Are you just saying that because he was white?
I know. I'm just assuming that because he was white, so maybe I should back off. But like,
terrible. Like when people used to call me and they'd say, "This Bob at the Tennessee's recruit there is white or black." Why does it matter? Just ask me if you think he can run or not.
That's like when they say those white players are like they're sneaky fast. That's
sneaky
code
fast,
for
coach's son, Jim Rat. Okay, if it's Merklinger, I think that Tennessee is still in pretty good shape. But this is a Nico or bust year, right? He's able to take it to another level where if something were to happen to Nico, we have to just greatly adjust the expectations for the season. No matter how good Merklinger is, it's going to change, correct?
Right, but we mostly know what we're going to see from Nico. So I think spring is about finding out who can be the quarterback if something happens. Because if Merklinger is not ready, can Davey Schuler or Gaston Moore shoulder Josh Heupel's the burden? I'm sorry, we saw a lot of Gaston Moore in mop-up duty. That dude can't throw. I'm sorry, he can't. He's more inaccurate than Joe Milton. He missed on 2 easy fades into the end zone in mop-up duty at one point.
So it's over the top mean. It's over the top mean. He doesn't need that.
I mean, his throws are over the top.
A random shot at Kamal Hadden if you can as well.